As I mentioned earlier, I know plenty of people who'd be unable to speak to someone who claims to be conservative or who voted for Trump, at least in a rational way. It just turns into conflict immediately. And one of the things I've looked at long since is how I've seen conservatism and what is the heart of it. To me, the heart of it has always been about states' rights. And when I've looked at it, of course, that's not how it is now. The heart of conservatism is, unfortunately, it's religious oppression right now in its own senses, which I've always found kind of laughable because as I understand religion, it should be very tolerant, but its practice tends to be anything but. And so from a states' rights perspective on conservatism, we just don't want the federal government to say that we have to do this if our population doesn't want that. We want the option to say no. Is the states' rights argument about that. That's just the not wanting to be made to do something. Mm-hmm. But the not wanting to do that thing is derivative of religious beliefs, which are sort of absurd, because even if religious texts were more clear, modernity exists. Time has passed, history has gone on, and we understand things in a different way. And so to pinpoint hatred as a stemming from to me is eroded conservatism into, maybe it is just the Tea Party now, but when I think of conservatives, that's who I think of. It's religious zealots who want to cut down funding for things that I don't think should be cut down. And so I would agree when I've seen things that are the Republican Party is dead. I agree. I think as it's been known, the Republican Party has been dead for a while. I also think the Democrat Party is a dead husk that people aren't admitting is dead yet. It's still, the picture's being held out, no, we're fine. It's Weekend at Bernie's, we're here, right. We're alive, totally. No, you're not. You're just trying really hard not to let it show that things have to really, really change, which has a bunch of irony to it, because things have to change because things already did change. That's why there's issues in this past election cycle with the liberal elite, is because that's the belief that these people did not change and adapt as the population has, and therefore are not representative of these people. But when your options are the religious zealots or the people who don't quite match what you say but get there enough of the time, you're more likely to line into that, which can then funnel into the rise of Trump and populism. Of someone saying, this is all terrible, I will not be this. And that's an entirely alluring thing. That's what Sanders was as well. Sanders and Trump had the same type of message, just on the opposite side of the spectrum. But the big parts of them are both, I am the outsider who is frustrated with how the system works, and I will work to change it for you, because this system was built to support you, not itself. It's power to the people, power from the people, power of the people. They just would have been, manifested in very, very different ways. And unfortunately, it seems that Trump is not staying so in line with the rhetoric from his campaign trail. Of course, the other unfortunate thing is he is staying in line with some of the rhetoric.
Personally, I think that liberals and conservatives, I shouldn't say that, I should say Democrats and Republicans have two very different problems in their party. The conservative faction now, the Republican side of the U.S., I think is ruled by fear. And not fear like they're going to do things because they're afraid of what's going to happen. Kind of in that way. Like, there is this idea that they are being attacked, like you said, and they need to fight back against it. And to some extent it's justified too, because you look at the liberal side of America, the Democratic side, and you find that their problem is also directly impacting the Republican problem. Because the Democratic Party used to be racist. Racist as all get out. The Democratic Party was originally, when it was founded, the slavery party, the party that destroyed the Whig Party, because unlike the Whigs, the Democrats are united on their position on slavery, that slavery should be part of the U.S. And of course that changed. In the 20th century, in the very beginning, as the new Republican Party became the party of big business, when we got the Democrats working for the sake of the disenfranchised, the black population became a natural sector of the new Democratic Party. But the structure of the Democratic Party has never really changed from its slavery roots, I think. And that structure, what I'm talking about, is that there's this idea that there's two classes of people, whether that be white and black, free men and slaves, or in this case, liberals and conservatives. And so when you see Democrats come together, like real integrated Democrats, the way they talk about themselves and non-Democrats is as though they make up this coalition of the enlightened, the intelligent, the absolutely correct, and they have to help these poor folks down here get up to their level and become a Democrat, or they need to be ignored, they need to be worked against, they need to be fought against, they need to be overcome like an obstacle, because eventually, ultimately they're lower. Their ideas, if they don't match with ours, aren't as good as ours. They don't deserve the respect that you might give our ideas, because our ideas are right, because we have these facts, because we have this information, dying into what you said again. And that, I think, fueled a lot of the outrage in this election. Like that liberal elite mentality you were talking about. Being a Democrat, the more of a Democrat you are, the more and more you find yourself fueled by the idea of being a liberal elite. Because that's the way the party makes you look at the world. Mm-hmm. And the Republican Party doesn't look at it that way. I think that's one of the reasons the Republican Party does not have superdelegates anymore, while the Democratic Party still does. There is something just inherently valuable about being more democratic than everyone else. So valuable that you should get another vote. You should override the common people, because you are more of a Democrat than they are, because you're in our party. You've made decisions. And so, on the other end, you have this kind of righteous reaction to democratic smugness, but it's not the right reaction at all. You get this idea among conservatives that they are being attacked because they are being ignored. They're being attacked because they feel like they're being singled out for not being helped, for not being discussed. Disenfranchisement in the worst way. There are people who are constantly told that their struggles need to take a back seat to the real problems in America. And in a way, that's like being told that you're not a real person in America. Mm-hmm. That there is another class of people more deserving than you, whether it be immigrants or blacks or Latinos or whatever you like. And their reaction to it, I think, is a crazy form of populism, the kind we haven't really seen in the westernized world anymore. We've seen it more in places like in Eastern Europe or in the Middle East. We haven't seen, we've seen some rise definitely in Western Europe, France, Germany, but nothing as extreme in this part of the world as what happened there.